Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is back, and honestly, I'm really happy with the way that the season is going so far. I mean, when the show started, Season 1 was good, Season 2 was sort of mediocre, Season 3 was good, Born Again 1 was sort of mediocre, and it looks like we're really heading back into a good territory here. I'm liking the cinematography, the colors, the characters are a lot better, even the bloated sidecast that plagued Born Again is just a lot more interesting here. I'm talking especially about Doge Guy, BB, Buck even is getting a little bit of characterization. What's up with that? And of course, we can't forget about the fights. We had this beautiful looking one-shot sequence where Matt and Swordsman are fighting up in the cave, and from what I heard, Tony Dalton got some real wallops in during that fight, and I can sort of tell which scene he got it in, because he sort of looks genuinely surprised when he gets hit. I mean, we'll never know if that actually made it into the final show or not. And if you look closely at the fight scene, you can see a lot of quick camera movements that are used to disguise cuts. Of course, this is nothing new to Daredevil. They've done this in the past. They're the master of making one-shots look good. I'm not saying this to disparage the team in any way. I'm just purely saying it because, it's something I notice. And once you notice it, you can't really unnotice it. But really, this show is not about the fights at this point. It's a sort of a slow burn. I hate to say that term, even though it kind of feels like it. Matt is not really doing that much throughout these episodes. Like, yes, he's obviously working, he's obviously scheming, he has this plan that he's thought out, and it's a little bit naive, but that's Matt. We love him for that. And obviously, Karen is sort of not having it. She's a little bit more of a realist, more practical. She kind of wants Frank Castle to come in and start murdering AVTF people, and I don't really blame her for that, to be honest. Kingpin, in the meantime, he's obviously doing his own schemes, his own little, I'm gonna butt heads with the governor over this port because she can cancel my port whenever she wants, but also she can't really do it because of political stuff. These latest 2 episodes have gone all in on the Trump comparisons, and honestly, there's enough of them to fill an entire book. We have an extended scene where the AVTF begins to capture a bunch of Latino people, kidnap them off the streets, everyone's rioting at them, they're so angry, and it's really reminiscent of certain videos that have come out of Minneapolis and Chicago. And honestly, I plan on making a full video covering the similarities between Wilson Fisk and Donald Trump, and it's gonna be big. So definitely, if you want to see that, then subscribe to my channel. Plot-wise, these episodes are a little bit stuffed. We have our A plots, our B plots, our C plots, our D plots. I would even say our E plots at some points. So the A plot obviously being Matt and Karen, B plot being Kingpin and Vanessa, C plot being Doge Guy and BB, D plot being Heather and Kirsten, E plot being Hector's niece. We also have some oddness where Bullseye is sort of showing up, reminding us of his presence, but also not really doing anything. In episode 2, he kills a couple of AVTF people on an elevator for no reason, really. I'm not sure why he does it. Then he stalks Vanessa at a party and, again, doesn't do anything. She's really scared of him, and there's also one scene where she's in her dream and she gets up and everything's blue, and then suddenly it looks like that one RDC skit where she got dropped into his domain expansion. But it wasn't really the filmmaker's fault, it was just purely because it reminded me of that one skit. And unfortunately, any scene where you hard cut from one setting to another is just gonna remind me of that skit forever until Jujutsu Kaisen ends. Now, while I did praise that the sidecast has been getting a lot more interesting characterization and plot moments, one thing that I can't say that I'm happy about is the fact that Cherry is still alive. I really don't see any purpose for him to be here. Jessica Jones is just going to be filling his role as the PI anyways, and honestly speaking, you should just replace him with anyone, literally anyone. I'm sorry, I know he's better in that one episode than he was for the entirety of season 1, but that does not make him a good character. His actor is decent, don't get me wrong, it's just he's not a good character at all, and he should probably be cut. We are already focusing on way too many people here. That is the one thing that I was not happy to see when I watched these 2 episodes. the only thing. And personally speaking, I get why they released these two episodes at the same time. They are definitely meant to be watched together. They do not have enough plot progression on their own, but when put together, they do feel like they have enough plot progression. And I feel like this is a function of needing to make up for season 1 in terms of characterization, in terms of moving the plot forward, in terms of getting everything together so that we can really start rolling after this. Because it's going to be all out war with Fisk once he sees what's happened with his prisoners being freed and him blowing up the boat. It's just going to be so wild. I have to imagine that the rest of this season is going to be non-stop tension, if not action. That is something that I can say for almost certain. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but this is sort of my hope as an action fan, as a Daredevil fan. And I'm really, really hoping that Daredevil and Bullseye at least meet up one time during the season. I've always been a big proponent of the Bullseye gets redeemed theory because Matt's Catholic guilt and his obsession with not killing is sort of iffy at best. The show acknowledges it, of course, but it doesn't really tell us why we should believe in it. Obviously, Matt believes in it because he's Catholic, but to certain audience members who don't believe in an ever-loving God, the show needs to sort of show why this is a good rule to have. And I think Bullseye, this irredeemable monster, a psychopath, actually being redeemed would be a good use of that. It would help validate Matt's ideology. I actually thought that there were going to be more fights in these two episodes, so I was going to make a Daredevil fight video, but instead I just have this segment talking about Season 2's first scene is a fight scene, and it brings a strong message. While some of the more brutal elements are implied off-screen, like this stomp, there is a scene where Daredevil breaks a guy's arm so hard that it literally breaks open and starts bleeding. It's basically saying, yeah, we've got a bigger budget now and we can really make these look R-rated. It's great, and as a quick aside, the scene after this where we can see Daredevil's super hearing visualized through aspect ratio change is an incredible effect. It's one of the few things I consider a straight upgrade from the original show. There's a couple of confusing cuts and Daredevil sort of teleports around the place to imply his ninja abilities, but overall, it's not a bad fight. The second fight scene at the end of the episode shows something that the show's marketing implied to me. There's a big focus on moving the camera with the stunts to give it an extra oomph, and to me that's the sign of a strong previs stage, which is where they designed the fight and the camera movements. And while they didn't get me to feel bad for Cherry specifically, they did manage to make me feel bad for Matt. Great way of getting rid of a character who was overall not well received by making his death mean something. And of course, we can't forget Bullseye third-partying at the end. He's the greatest, I'm always a fan of watching him fight, and I can't wait to see what he's up to. One of my favorite cuts in this episode is the tilting shot where Jack is declared guilty by the judges. It shows that justice is being perverted by the legal system and by Wilson Fisk and his goons and his new laws and whatnot. Just overall, great shot. And the court case, although very quick and obviously nothing like a legal case, was obviously useful in serving that conclusion. Overall, great couple of episodes. I am very happy with the direction that Born Again Season 2 is heading in, and if the next couple of episodes are as good as this one or even better, then I will be very happy for the rest of the season.